Rezero Season 3 Episode 4 Operation Take Back the Government Office, because the witch cultists are not sending their best. And so let's see if Subaru and the gang can make Pristella great once again. They jump right into the thick of it, which I really appreciate, wasting no time at all because we have a lot of material to cover and a lot of peak to attend to. And like I said in previous videos, they are really not shying away from showing all of the action in this new season, which is greatly appreciated. I think that this works particularly well in arcs like Arc 3 and Arc 5 because there are civilians involved, and so the goriness really levels it up a notch. Whenever you have this sort of combatants and Subaru versus the witch cult, there's this sort of brutality that's almost expected, but when civilians and innocent people get involved, that's when, in my eyes, the stakes really go that much higher. As a very minor nitpick on the character designs, we have seen that they have been a little bit inconsistent throughout the episodes, and there's this one frame in particular where, because of the perspective, Mimi just looks huge next to Garfiel. She just looks comically big, her head just way oversized, but anyway, that's just a minor nitpick. Our cute dynamic duo of Garfiel and Mimi find two masked witch cultists, which they deem to be very dangerous, and so instead of turning their backs to them and running away, they opt into the totally much safer option of going straight into them, exchanging a blow, dodging, and then running away. I really like these two. They are very cute and very strong in their own right, but they're not the brightest. We then jump straight into the title card, so that means no opening for this week, and normal anime fans think, wow, no opening this week, the episode is going to be a banger, but for Rezero fans, every episode is a banger. For you, no opening means a special day. For Rezero fans, no opening means just another Wednesday. We then go into a scene where the most loving, caring, and misunderstood fathers of all time, Heinkel, is trying to protect his dear son Reinhardt from going right into the action, which, such a loving guy. I really like this Heinkel dude. He seems like an awesome father. And this scene really surprised me as a novel reader because I thought, wait, isn't this from volume 18? And according to Wikipedia, yes, I was right, this is a scene from volume 18. And to be quite honest, I don't mind when they reshuffle scenes in the arc. I think as long as they don't break the pacing and things make more sense from an anime-only perspective, I don't really mind, because from a novel reader perspective, as long as the material gets adapted, I don't really care much about the order. As long as it makes sense, I'm good. And with this decision in particular, I am a bit biased, but I will say that I enjoyed it, because throughout volume 17 and a little bit of volume 18, it was always one of the things that was nagging me in the back of my mind. Like, I was really enjoying the scenes and the action and all that, but I always thought, where is my beautiful, overpowered bastard Reinhardt? Where is he in the middle of all of this? Now, the anime-onlys get a little bit of clarity much earlier than the novel readers did, which to me is a good thing. And Felt is just great. In particular, I really like the contrast between her and Reinhardt, because Reinhardt always tries so hard to be the straight man and a very upstanding knight, and then Felt, she's a gangster at heart. She was raised in the streets. She does not care. She's there with a sword by her neck, completely unbothered. She just says to Reinhardt to go follow his orders, go fulfill his duty. She's there. She's not afraid of Heinkel at all because she was raised in the slums. She has probably dealt with a lot of crazy drunks. She doesn't even mind it anymore. They then jump back to the meeting with Subaru and the gang, where they're doing a bit of an exposition dump, and I just got a shiver. Somehow it reminded me of the third season of Slime, and that still scares me. Slime fans, please don't jump on me in the comments, it was a joke. Not really. Unlike the third season of Slime, this meeting in Rezero does manage to convey important information while having interesting dialogue that displays each character's personality and quirks, so it's a very good scene. With his incredible deductive reasoning, Subaru accurately guesses that Lugunica is a name that should belong to the royalty of Lugunica, and so they correct him and say that there was a person with this name, and she was very beautiful and very intelligent, and I can just hear Capella, Sims in the background like, yup, checks out. And so raises the question, who is the Archbishop of Lust? Is Capella somehow a spirit that took over this Emerada Lugunica's body, like for example Betelgeuse did in season 3, if you recall, he took over various bodies. Did she take over her body? Is she the actual royalty? Or did she somehow just take her form? Just one of the many questions regarding Capella which we will one day hopefully see answered. And if she is actually a member of royalty, then we have to consider that she is actually related to Felt, which I don't see it in the crazy aspect, but I definitely see it in the fiery personality. I can see some similarities there. And we have to consider that she may be the true successor to the Lugunica throne, which is a scary thought to have because she is older than Felt. Felt isn't even old enough to drink, much less to rule a country, and so she may be the true successor as pretty much one of the only royal members left. And I don't know, on one hand I don't think it would go so well, but on the other hand I think the people of Lugunica would get used to the morning lovely messages that she would give out. We then get into a video message with Julius, which is probably Subaru's worst nightmare. He feels a ring in his pocket, he reaches out, just Julius like, ugh, put this away. And once again, this scene was very good because they managed to do a lot of exposition through natural flowing dialogue that feels in line with the conversation that the characters would actually have, instead of just being just a huge exposition dump that feels dense and boring. Here, in the anime, they usually talk about the blessings very briefly. They don't delve much into it, but they talk about them. For example, Garfiel's blessing of earth spirits or Felt's blessing of the wind, they were briefly mentioned but never delved into deeply. Here they approach that Mimi and the rest of the twins have this sort of tri-blessing where they can share pain, and I think they don't go too deep into it as much as the light novel did, for example, but they do a good enough job where the audience can quickly see visually and through the dialogue what's happening and what the blessing does. So I appreciate that they didn't cut it, they still explain it even if it's a bit brief. They then tried to recreate the art from the light novel in Garfield's scene, and I will say I was a tad bit disappointed in this scene. I think the color palette was way too bright for what it was. I think Garfield's scene in the light novel has a lot more sadness and gravitas to it. It's just darker, it feels sadder, if that makes sense. Still, it's a minor nitpick, and in the anime they have this thing called voice acting, so Garfield's voice actor is doing a very good job at selling the emotion, so I don't really mind it as much. I still think the moment was powerful, even if from an artwork perspective I prefer the image in the light novel. And speaking of voice acting enhancing things, Capella's laugh in the background is just disturbing, and having this very sad moment with her disturbing sadistic laugh in the background just makes it that much more eerie. The voice actress for Capella is doing a great job. We see that Mimi's wound isn't closing, and this is a moment where I think that the knowledge gap between anime-onlys and novel readers starts becoming a bit apparent, because by this point, novel readers had a very good idea of who was behind the hood, because once again, in the novels we go into a bit more depth about many things, especially the blessings. So I don't know if anime-onlys are supposed to guess who's behind the hood. I think some of them have very educated guesses, but still I will not spoil anything because I make these videos imagining that some of you are anime-onlys. I don't know if that's a fact, but I will not spoil anything. We will talk about it hopefully in a few episodes. And I just have to highlight once again, besides Capella's laugh being completely creepy, the sounds of whatever she was doing to those poor people. Those sounds, man, the sound design in Rezero is very good, from little tiny details like way back in season 1 when we had the cell phone ringtone when the white whale came, that was awesome as well. But the sounds here, I don't know where they got it from, and to be quite honest, I don't want to know, but they really worked. And because I'm nitpicky with the bad things, I'm also nitpicky with the good things, damn it. And I have to really note that I really liked the scene when Kiritaka came in, because I think a lesser anime that are not as well directed, or anime that may be trying to go for some more cheap entertainment, would turn this into a bit of a comedic scene, because Subaru had that episode with Kiritaka where he was holding Liliana and they had this comedic moment or whatever. Here they really respected the mood, which I really appreciated. Even though Kiritaka, the last time we saw him, was a sort of comedic fashion as comedy relief, here once he enters the scene, the mood maintains the same. He is serious, he is up straight, he has a serious manner about him, the interaction he has with Subaru does not address Liliana at all, so I thought that was a very nice touch, and I can see how a lot of other directors and a lot of other anime would easily botch this moment. Then we see an anime-only exclusive. We see the witch actually trapped inside Pristella, and we see that, as was hinted many times, it is in fact Typhon. Unless another witch painted her hair green and wore a crown of flowers for some strange reason. But as Al confirmed, it is Typhon, and I think that shot in the anime looked very good. It was a bit creepy, but also I was interested in how they got her there. I definitely hope one day they get to explain all of these things, because she wasn't just underwater. She was clearly trapped from the waist down, so I really want to see how she got there. What's the whole story behind this? Another interesting detail is that they said that it is her power that holds the city of Pristella together, and if they removed her, the city would fall apart, which is interesting because, as we recall from Season 2, she is the Witch of Pride, which, according to Betelgeuse in Season 1, Pride is the seat which is vacant. So this raises the question, even after she is no longer in the world of the living, what happened to her authority? Is it still in effect? Is it why she's holding the city of Pristella together, even though she's no longer here? These are all very good questions which we can theory craft about. And to add to the speculation, Al literally name drops Typhon in a very slight murmur, which was not even obvious to me if Subaru actually heard it or if it was just something for the audience to hear, but still very interesting. How does he know Typhon? She's much older than he is, supposedly, so how does he know her? Why is he murmuring? He's a very interesting shady fella, this Al guy. We see some shots of Garfiel completely terrified, and this is much more impactful now, because after Arc 4 in Season 2 we saw that he was very brave and very impulsive, and now in Arc 5 we see that he was building this sort of relationship with Mimi, and then he had that emotional moment with his mother. He now discovered that his mother is still alive and that he has this sort of step family that he has to care for and he wants to care for, and so this is all falling down on him at the same time, and he clearly does not have the emotional fortitude to handle all of this. Like every depressed teenager, what Garfiel really needs is a true bro, and Subaru is there for him. He immediately picks Garfiel up, he says that he can't stay depressed, and in this year that Subaru and Garfiel have gotten to really get along and know each other, Subaru not only has come to care for Garfiel as a friend, which may have seemed impossible during the events of Season 2, but also he's really gotten to know what really pushes Garfiel, what are his buttons, and so he immediately imbues Garfiel with meaning. He says, I need you to help protect Emilia and the people of Pristella, which really motivates Garfiel. We then see some more shots of the absolute best girl in Rezero, Elsa, and if you have a different opinion, it's okay, we can disagree, I just want you to know that you're wrong. Thankfully this time Elsa also looks very normal, like a normal human being with a normal chest that's not about to burst into flames at any moment, so that's also appreciated. We get the flashback of what happened with Garfiel, Mimi, and the hooded witch cultist, and I know this scene was very tense, but I couldn't help but giggle because the visual of Garfiel with his oversized arms doing this sort of invisible lat syndrome run like a douchebag at the gym, picking up super small-sized Mimi running like this, it was kind of a funny visual. I'm not going to lie, it was a tense moment, but I laughed. After Subaru and Ricardo really push on Garfiel and give him some motivational talk, he's really determined now, ready to fight some baddies, and Garfiel has a lot of shonen protagonist energy, which I really appreciate. Much like Reinhardt has sort of this isekai protagonist energy, Garfiel has this classic shonen protagonist energy. Which is always funny in the context of Rezero because there are a lot of characters that feel like the protagonists of their own stories, which really contrasts with Subaru that feels so antithetical to the usual protagonist that we're used to. We get a very short exchange of dialogue in which Julius asks for Subaru's opinion, in an exchange that is very short but very meaningful to me, and I feel would be more impactful if they did not cut a scene from episode 1 in which we have all the important characters saying to Subaru how much they appreciate him, and him being all embarrassed, not really being able to take compliments, but I really feel that that scene was probably the biggest miss of episode 1, and it would really give even more meaning to this scene, which I know the viewers aren't dumb, they can still pick up that Julius has a lot of respect for Subaru, which is why he's asking for his opinion, but still I would have really liked to have that scene in episode 1. This respect the other characters have for Subaru is also seen when the characters feel very relieved after Subaru says that yes, going after Emilia is obviously very important, but it is more important to go after Demetia, to really do a number on the witch cult and also to sort of raise the morale of the people of Cristela. So I really like these subtle moments, even if I think sometimes the dialogue could be a little bit more direct. I think they cut a bit of dialogue here, but I don't think it matters much, and then we jump directly into the rescue party for the government office. And I want to note how much these guys look like an MMORPG party, they're literally going into a raid boss, and I think they just look so cool. And much like before a raid boss, Subaru tries to assess each of his teammates' powers, and he asks if Krush can still fight, and come on man, are you really going to doubt my queen? I don't care about the memories or anything else, like a poet by the name of Jon Snow once said, "You will always be my queen." And also in some of these shots, I started noticing that Julius's eyebrows and eyelashes look super overtly pretty, and I know that he's supposed to be like an Ikemen, a pretty guy, but for some reason, compared to season 1, they really pushed the bar here, and he almost reminds me of James from Team Rocket. I started laughing at some point, I thought it was funny. We then get the uncomfortable conversation in which Subaru asks Al if he's a bum, essentially. Hey bro, can you actually fight, or are you a tomato can? And to which Al says, hey bro, that's cool, but peace out. I was just here for the photo, for the group photo with all of us together, for the episode trailer, and now I'm out, and honestly, I respect the hustle. And this scene really jumped out to me because I thought to myself, there's no way, I think there's stuff missing here, and so I want to read to you the dialogue from the light novel, which there's no spoilers in here, really just more context that I don't think they will add because now it doesn't make sense. So let's see how this scene went in the light novel. For starters, weren't you the one who said you didn't need to worry about Priscilla? Which Al replies, that was before I got all sorts of new data and I had to revise everything. Besides, even if I'm here, I ain't no use in a boss fight at the city hall. I'm just gonna hold the crew back. I might as well not be there, am I wrong? This piece of dialogue is so crucial that it is mind-blowing to me that they actually removed it from the anime, because in this scene you can see, wait a minute, does Al... Hold up, what's happening here? A piece of new data? That looks like something Subaru would say. So it's in this moment that a lot of cogs start spinning in your head, and I can't believe they removed this from the anime. This is, to me, a very, very bad blunder, and honestly, I know just a moment that they could cut this dialogue and find some time. They could just remove a bit of Gluttony's dialogue. No one cares. Bro is yapping about eating and gorging and blah blah blah. It's just garbage. No one cares. In fact, it's so garbage that in the Yen Press translation, they even call him Garbage Gluttony, which is a hilarious mistranslation, by the way. But no one cares about the yapping about you're hungry or whatever. We know, you're crazy, whatever. They really should have cut Gluttony's dialogue and added this in, because this is extremely important. Hopefully they didn't cut the scene where Ricardo glazes Subaru a little bit, and I like this scene because yes, the one from volume 16 was in my opinion more important, but I still think that it is important to verbalize that the other characters really respect Subaru because of his deeds against the White Whale and the Witch Cult. Implying is good, but sometimes telling is the best. Al leaves the group with a piece of advice that if they find Gluttony, to not reveal their true names, which, once again, everything Al says in Arc 5 is so mysterious and really leaves you thinking. I wish that they had kept the full dialogue. As was noted by Emilia in episode 1 of this season, Subaru and Julius are unknowingly, or perhaps unknowingly only to Subaru, quite good friends by now, and I really enjoy their dynamic in which Subaru is just freaking out internally at the mere mention of Gluttony and the implications it may have to save Ram and even Krush as well, and so he's super stressed out, and Julius immediately sets Subaru back to factory settings by just cracking a bit of a joke and creeping out Subaru, which is always good. They're true friends even if they don't quite admit it. We then get a shot of eggs or whatever that is. All I know is it looks very yucky and disturbing, and I'm very, very curious to see how the animation studio is going to handle those eggs and what they're going to do with them. And then I really like Krush's energy, because Garfiel says, there they are, and Krush, boom, she just launches an attack, no questions asked. I really like Krush's energy and Emilia's energy from the previous episode, because that's how you have to be with the witch cult. I don't like what Reinhardt did, where it's like, "Ah, madame, excuse me, might we engage in polite conversation before I whoop your posterior?" No, none of that. You see the witch cult and you attack immediately. No mercy. And the anime keeps teasing us with little hints. For example, Wilhelm says, "Ah, so it is true. But what is true, Will? Are you going to reveal it all?" And to be quite honest, this difference in knowledge, I would say, between the novel readers and the anime onlys, I don't think it's necessarily bad. It's a different experience. And I think that the reveal is being milked a lot more in the anime, which to me is quite nice, honestly. It's one of the highlights of Arc 5 and I'm quite enjoying it. I don't mind that the anime onlys perhaps are a bit more unaware than novel readers were. The fight is super cool and dynamic, as expected from the Avengers of Rezero, and I particularly enjoy the cliche of a character blocking a sword strike with their mouth. It's so dumb, but I like it so much. It's so cheesy, but I love it. It's shonen goodness. We see a glimpse of Sakuga there, as Julius's Ulugora looks super cool, as it should. His attacks are some of the most colorful and vibrant in Rezero, so I'm happy they reserve a mini animation budget just for Julius. And then the hooded witch cultist just cuts the fire in half, and I'm just thinking, that poor swordsman from One Piece, whose only gimmick was being able to cut fire, and now he's having his gimmick stolen by other One Piece characters, and now even by characters in Rezero. So lame, poor guy. And then we finally see the dragon that was previewed in the opening in full glory in thousands, perhaps even millions of Rezero fans across the world. Sigh in relief. It is a 2D dragon. I repeat, the dragon is 2D, it is not ugly CGI for once. Yay. Because for some strange reason, probably budget reasons, even though I don't quite know how that works, big creatures in anime are often depicted with the ugliest CGI you have ever seen, sometimes even in series that look good. For example, in Attack on Titan, the Colossal Titan looked so off and so clunky and so CGI compared to the rest of the series, it was so jarring to watch. And then we have even more egregious examples like the turtle from Shield Hero Season 2, which, shh, we do not talk about that. But yes, not only is the dragon 2D, it is also Capella, apparently. She's a dragon, which is surprising, but her faces are so funny. The dragon is very expressive, even though it doesn't move a lot. I would rather him not move a lot than be CGI, but his faces are still very expressive and really convey her personality, which is even more enhanced by the voice acting that is tremendous. I love her creepy voice cracks, she is just so good. And not only is the voice performance from Capella tremendous, the trash talk is so good. She immediately pokes down at Garfiel's insecurities and then shoves her entire fist in, but thankfully for them, Subaru is also no stranger to trash talk and he's quite good at it. I don't know if it's ever been explicitly stated, perhaps in a side story or something, but I know that Subaru would be an excellent internet troll. After some more beautiful moments of animation for Julius, I'm just loving the separate budget or separate department, whatever is happening here. Bro is looking like a maestro, just orchestrating his own powerful move, and even though we don't see the actual moment of impact, it still looks very good. Once again, the Rezero anime does some shortcuts to sort of save on animation, but it still manages to do them so masterfully that it just looks so good. And then I'm so thankful that the dragon isn't CGI, because the 2D animated just melted off face of the dragon and her creepy smile and creepy voice and him just regenerating, it looks amazing. And her face afterwards, she's such a huge troll. It's so hilarious. She is not only making our main character suffer, but she is enjoying it. She's so sadistic, a tremendous villain. I totally love Capella. And our main characters love Capella too, as they go after her using Julius's wind elevator, and they prove that chivalry still exists, as Subaru grabs Krush and goes with her and does a full depth squat, perfect form, my bro. At the risk of injury of his leg, I don't know why he did that. Krush, even under normal circumstances, is stronger than he is, but hey, he's a nice guy. And jokes aside, the fact that Subaru carried Krush in this precarious situation makes me think about the words of a famous poet by the name of Yugi. It should have been me, not him. As the episode starts coming to a close, we get yet another bombshell reveal. I just love how the reveals in Arc 5 are just stacked and stacked and stacked, and you think that the situation could not possibly get any worse, and then it gets worse. We see that there is yet another Archbishop, another Gluttony, and Subaru is very angry, but we're trying to calm him down like, hey bro, we the audience know it's not that one, it's not that one. And the new Gluttony just yaps and yaps about being hungry or something, and I'm just thinking about Al's dialogue that was good. Man, but hey, you know, the anime onlys also need to be introduced to Royale Fard, it is what it is. And then we see that Rezero is alternating. Last week we had just the opening, this week we have just the ending, which once again is an amazing song. Even if I did prefer the original vocalist, Mythendroid is goated and fits Rezero so much. I will say, even though I think Reweave fits better as an opening, it has more explosion, fills you more with adrenaline, primes you to watch the episode, and the ending is usually a bit more subdued, calms you down after a tremendous episode, which I think both songs fit their purpose well. I think that Nox Lux as a song by itself, musically speaking only, I think is a better song. And I know this may be controversial and I may get a weird comment like I do sometimes where it's like, what? You think this is better than that? Well, jump off a bridge, man. And it's like, wow. Wow. I didn't know Japanese cartoons and anime songs were so serious, but damn, that's tough, man. And then the episode ends with an after credits scene where Emilia is in bed, naked, and wait, do not get excited, because you will immediately get soft as Regulus, the creepiest man alive, enters the scene, and the dude is just so unbelievably creepy and so hateable and just so easy to detest. He's also a tremendous villain. The thing about Arc 5 is that it has so many villains, but they're all so good in their own unique villainous way. It's just tremendous. But honestly, my favorite ones are Capella and Regulus, and I don't think it's particularly close. And this was this week's episode. Overall, to me, the only major flaw was Al's cut dialogue, which I think is a major blunder. Tremendous loss there for anime onlys. But besides that, great moments of animation, great moments of character dialogue, divine, godly voice acting. I really hope that they keep up this level of quality throughout the season. And once again, I have yapped for way too long, my voice is starting to fail, so be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next ReZero episode. Ciao.